I don't know how I follow that. But what I related to most in the film, specifically in the beginning, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was speaking about playing football and just that life and how you kind of have to tuck your emotions away and put them on the back burner. So a little background about me, and they touched on this a lot in the documentary. I'm a mama's boy. I'm sensitive. When I was a kid, they used to call me Crybaby Joe because I cried so much. And then so imagine, that little boy from 5 to 30, playing football. So I couldn't, once you start playing that game, you can't be that crybaby. You can't be that emotional kid. You have to put that away. You gotta almost, not necessarily turn into a killer, but you're playing one of the most violent sports you could ever play from a young age. So from 5 to 30, that's where I'm at. That's my headspace is, I gotta hurt that person in front of me. I gotta win. I gotta win every play. And it wasn't until, I think, when I started playing professionally, I signed with an agency, and the requirement was we had to sign on with a therapist. And I didn't need therapy, like you said. You know my father, you know my mother. I didn't think I needed, therapy. I grew up in a quote unquote great household, and I had everyone, was doing well. My brothers were doing well. But that changed my life. It let me know I can be sensitive. I can love. I just wanted to love, man. I didn't want to, and then I realized I didn't even love the game. That's just something I felt like I had to do as a young black boy in Utah. There's not many of us, so we gotta rap and play football or play basketball or bang, right? So I was big, I was strong, I was fast, and that's a choice I made. My parents didn't push me into it, although they were both athletes. That was just something I felt like I needed to do. So yeah, that's what I relate to the most, just that almost unwritten rule that we have to be somebody just to take on that. And I wish I tell my daughter, she's 15, and we're talking about college and stuff like that, and I'm like, dude, I wish I would have studied abroad and got into photography or picked up an instrument or something else, because I didn't have to do that. That's not even where my heart is. I wanted to create. I wanted to, give back. I wanted to love. So, but yeah, I can go on forever, but let me pass this on.
So if I have one critique of the movie, and it is this: the idea of manhood that it presents seems to be based on like white, cisgender, heterosexual males, and that is not everyone's experience. Because some of the things that they were talking about was foreign to me. I think there is sometimes this pressure when you grow up as a black male in a stable family, or when you grow up as a black male and you're not like in trouble, you're not like in and out of the court system or whatever, but like if you're bright, if you're accomplished, there's a whole different mask. And that mask is very beige, if you know what I mean. It's just brown enough to come home, but beige enough to navigate the world. But we don't talk about like those kind of things. I was fortunate to grow up with just like successful black men all around me. So I didn't know that there was like an option to not be like successful or whatever. And then I was fortunate to have, now I won't say just like the parents that I had, I was fortunate to have like the father that I had. Like my parents divorced when I was young, and my dad was very, very vocal. Like no matter how inconvenient it was for him, he would never live like not within walking distance of us. Like there was no like custody agreement, visitation or whatever. It's if my car's in the driveway and you want to see your dad, tell your mom to pull the car over and get out the car. My dad made sure to live in the neighborhood that we lived in. So if we stayed the night at his house, we got on the same bus to go to the same school, like on the same schedule, you know. So I grew up with that. And he didn't learn that from his dad, because his dad died when he was 6. So it was something that my dad had to learn, like how to be a father and how to be a man. My dad had passed away a couple of years ago. One of the conversations that stood out to me, and I was like in my 30s at the time we had a conversation, and my dad said that someone had come to him with a rumor about me and about my sexuality. And I have to tell you, my dad was in the Navy. So when my dad said that he did this, I know he absolutely did this. And my dad said, "Sport," I ripped him a effing new one and told him, even if what you said was true, which it's not, my son is still more of a man than you are. And I hadn't even like come out to my dad. In fact, I never did, like before my dad passed. So, and that was just his way of saying, like, the hell, like, you still got my name, and anybody come in my face with some foolishness, like, they're gonna wish that they hadn't, you know? So that is what I, you know, experienced growing up. And for my thing, it's not that I needed someone or some place to teach me how to be a man. I just needed some space where I could be like the man that I am, you know? And my dad taught me that if you can't find it, you create it, you know? And so that's why, like here in Utah, like I try to create that space, especially for like queer men of color, because the first thing they're gonna tell you is, well, then you're not man enough. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. And the second thing they're gonna tell you, oh, well, that's some white folk stuff. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, because last time I looked in the mirror, like, I was man enough, I was black enough, and I'm just trying to be me, you know? And so I think that is something that this film did not show. And then the other thing that we have to look at is, well, why are males, especially black males, so at risk for suicide? And the problem is this: if you choose to buck against the system and not accept the role that they have prescribed for you, then you are putting yourself at increased risk for suicide and other self-destructive behaviors. And that's research that goes back to Durkheim in 1880s, right? People who don't know where they fit in are most at risk for trying to check out. And even if people don't love their life, if they know where they fit in, they are less likely to want to hurt themselves. And so I think part of the solution, and I'm always trying to get to the solution, is allowing people the freedom to like create their own space in whatever environment they're in.
I related mostly to what most of the young men in the movie, because I was the youngest, well, second youngest of 6 boys in the house, and I was crybaby in the house, mostly because I was getting whooped by my older brother. So I'm like, I'm crying because y'all just beat me up. So I feel like that's a good reason to cry. But you know, I was a crybaby, so my older brothers was like, stop crying, stop being a sissy. And so my outlet was to go to school and whoop somebody. And so I come home with a story. Yeah, I whooped such and such today, or I fought this person today, and that got me in trouble, like the kids in the film. And then I was able to use sports to try to prove my manhood and prove my toughness and prove I'm not a crybaby, and unfortunately I was good at football and good at basketball and good at boxing. So that was like kind of like my proof of I'm not a crybaby. So I was able to, that was my outlet. But it would, you know, like, it's really difficult to navigate when you don't know why you're sensitive. You don't know why you're crying, or you don't know why you feel this way. You just need an outlet. And sometimes when you're at home, or when you're in school and your friends are, you know, boys are supposed to, they got the same stuff going on at home, and they don't know where the outlet is either. So we're all fighting the same fight. So that's what I related to with them in that.
Keep the mic.